You already know. We got to talk about it. That's right. It's time to talk about Daima episode 3. So I guess to start off, I mean, it pretty much starts off where Goku, Supreme Kai, and Glorio are flying through space, right? Because that's where it left off last episode. They're flying through space, and Glorio's like, we need to go to Warp Sama. Warp Sama is the giant fish that was warping them around, and King Goma and Degesu and Neva in the first episode. And so apparently there's Warp Samas all over, not all over, but there's like certain places around the universe and I guess multiverses where they're stationed, kind of like Mass Effect relays, I guess, if you've ever played Mass Effect. Gloria says, oh, the closest one is next to planet Batapi, which when they get there, it's just like a giant, it's like a double planet actually. It's like two planets with like a ring in between it. It's very cool design. But they look like they're waffle planets. That makes sense. They're like planets that are like made of waffles. Anyway, very Toriyama. Anyways, on the way there, Glorio says like the demon king of the third world, because there's 3 demon realms, right? And he's like, well, the demon king of the third realm told him to go get Goku so Glorio and Goku could go essentially take down King Goma, which is the new king, because Dabura died. They get to Warp Sama, right? He's the giant fish. You know, Goku's having his moment, his Goku moment, where he's like, oh my God, what are you, a goldfish? And like Warp Sama gets all pissed off, and it's pretty funny. And so like Warp Sama asked like, oh, who, like he knows who Glorio is, because like Glorio just used him to get to that universe. And he's like, oh, I see you're bringing 2 more like people with you. Like, who are those people? And Gloria's like, oh no, they're demons or whatever. Warp Sama's like, oh, all right, let me check those ears, because this is like a huge thing, I guess. And Daima is like pretty much all demons have pointy ears. It's like all demons have pointy ears, but every creature with pointy ears aren't all demons, if that makes sense. But anyway, he's like, okay, if they're demons, let me see the ears. He sees Supreme Kai's ears, and he's like, okay, you pass. Then he's like, okay, let me see the other's ears, which is Goku. And it's so funny. Like Supreme Kai uses his magic to make his ears pointy, and it's like painful for Goku, but it's pretty funny. So they get in. But what's even weirder is like they need like it's like so Toriyama. He asked them to like give him a pin number to get in, and like Supreme Kai's like, what? And Gloria's like, oh yeah, you have to submit an application and then you get a pin number to get in. And I'm just like, yeah. It's just so Dragon Ball. It's like funny. It's so great. They get in. Supreme Kai wanted to tell Kibito through his like, you know, like telepathy that there's a pin number. He didn't get the chance to do it. And then they go in, they get all like warped to like the hub world of the demon realm, which is like a billion. I don't know if it's not the demon realm. It's like this hub world for all worlds. And they have like hatches that lead to every, I don't know, universe in existence. I guess there's like thousands and thousands of them, but there's only 3 that lead to the 3 demon realms. So apparently there's only 3 demon realms. They did establish that, but it's kind of confirmed here because there's 3 hatches right next to each other. It's like a red, blue, and a yellow, I think, hatch. And so Glorio's like, oh, we're going to the 3rd one. And Supreme Kai's like, so Supreme Kai is on Glorio's ass. Like any chance he gets, he's like asking him questions, like, like, cause you could tell he doesn't trust him, and like, how could you? He's like a demon. So anyway, Supreme Kai is like, why are we going to the 3rd one? I mean, Goma's in the 1st one, and he's like, I have to. I only have access to the 3rd one. He's like, what? They go in, and Supreme Kai's like, okay, whatever. They go in, and then like upon entering, they see like this giant hole in the ground. It's like a massive tunnel, and it has like this seal on it, like this magical Final Fantasy looking seal. And Goku's like, what's that? And Supreme Kai's like, oh, that's the tunnel that connects all the demon realms. But when I was young, someone sealed it off with light magic. We don't know who, but maybe they'll tell us like in the future. I don't know. Who knows? But interesting lore right there. And yeah, and then right after that, Glorio clarifies that only demons from the first demon world, like where Goma's from, and like Degesu and Supreme Kai's sister can use Warp Sama. And then Supreme Kai immediately is like, wait a minute, you're from the third demon world, so why are you able to use them? And then Glorio's like, oh, well, because I do work in the first demon world. And he's like, oh yeah, what kind of work? And he's like, this and that. You know, he's like, we don't know what he's doing, but he seems like he's like a spy or he's like a mercenary or something. That's what he seems like, but I'm not entirely sure. We're not entirely sure as the viewer, but I think we're gonna learn soon, but who knows? Goku then, like right after that, asks Glorio, he's like, hey, can you land? I want to breathe the air. And so he gets out and he's like, and like he's like, whoa, and he's like trying to punch and kick, and he's like, it's really heavy here. And Glorio kind of is like, yeah, it's because the thickness of the air makes it harder to move, and it's kind of like moving underwater. It kind of reminded me of like King Kai's planet or like Planet Vegeta, you know, having extra gravity, but it's not like the gravity's more intense. It's more just like the air is more like being underwater, I guess. And then like, anyway, immediately after that, they get attacked by bandits, right? Bandits, they're like these demon bandits, I guess. Like right after that, Glorio is just like, don't worry, I got this. He pretty much takes out his pistol, his little freaking, his tiny hand pistol. You're like, okay, what's he gonna do? Just like shoot him in the head. No, like these massive blasts come from the gun and like destroy the mountain. And you're like, oh, okay. So he has like a powerful gun, kind of like Jacko or like the Gammas, you know? You're like, okay. So he's got a powerful weapon. Okay, now it makes sense why, you know, he has that thing. After that, they get back in the ship, and then Glorio's like, oh, you must be tired, right? Because it was nighttime when we left Earth. So I guess we can go somewhere to sleep. And it was pretty funny because like on the way, they like found out that like why the air is so heavy and like stinky is, I didn't mention that, but like the air is also stinky is because there's like a bunch of flying like volcanoes everywhere that like make up the atmosphere with their explosions. And Goku's like, oh, wow. Goku's like, wow, you know, it smells so bad you probably wouldn't even notice if I farted. And then like Glorio's like, yo, it reeks up in here worse than before. And Goku's like, oh, well, you got me. Yeah, Goku actually ripped a fat fart and like pretty much hotboxed the spaceship. That was pretty funny. Very Toriyama moment right there. I liked it. I was laughing. And so anyway, they get to this outpost. It's like an outpost civilization, tiny little town of like demon people. And I mean, they're demons, so they're not like nice. Obviously, they all look like riffraff and they're mean. And so they get to the hotel or motel or whatever, or inn or whatever the hell you want to call it. And Glorio asked for a few rooms for him. And he was like, oh, you know, it's like, oh, can I get 2 rooms? And like the demon's like, oh yeah, 30,000 glyphoflorpins, whatever the hell, I forgot what the currency was. And then Glorio gets all pissed off. He's like, yo, don't you think it's a little much? And then he's like, yeah, well, take it or leave it. And then Glorio's just like, bruh, like lifts up his little vest and he shows him his gat. And the demon's like, whoa, I'm sorry about that. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then, yeah, he essentially gives Glorio a fair price. And then they get their room for a fair price. And then Goku's like, oh, I'm hungry. And so he's like, all right, to the same demon. He's like, where can we find some food? And he's like, yo, there's a bar across the street. So they go, and it's so dumb, but it's so Dragon Ball, you know? But they go over to the bar to get hamburgers. Yeah. Apparently there's hamburgers in the demon realm. Anyway, I thought that was comical. So they go to the bar and they get their demon burger. They get like a few demon burgers because, you know, Goku's a freaking Saiyan. He eats like 10,000 pounds of food every meal. And immediately like these demons come and start harassing Glorio, Goku, and Supreme Kai. And Glorio's like buzz off, like get the fuck out of here. Like, and he's like, and then they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I ain't gonna tell you again, like get out of here. But he's all calm because he's like, Glorio's all calm and kind of like quiet. And then they actually try to like put hands on him. Glorio, it shows Glorio's strength here. He like twists the wrist of like this demon and like beats the shit out of another one. And they're like, whoa. But then like they all kind of like gang up after that, get pissed off, and like, all right, we're gonna beat these guys' ass. And so Goku's like, oh. And then Goku's like eating his burger and he's like, you know, blocking the punches. And then he like this whole like cool little fight starts out between Goku and the rest of the demons, and Goku was like, oh, this will be the perfect training to get used to my body in this realm or whatever. You know, totally Goku. And he's like beating the shit out of him and like doing, you know, his martial arts and everything. And it's like really cool, choreographed well, and the animation's good. And it's just really, really fun. It reminded me of like a Dragon Ball fight, you know, like an old Dragon Ball, not Z, not Super, but like Dragon Ball, right? And I was like, this is cool, man. This is cool. I don't know. It was just charming, I should say. It was cool and charming all in one, and nostalgic, right? Because it felt like classic Dragon Ball. It was like seeing Kid Goku beat up these demons, you know. It was kind of like, you know, Demon King Piccolo's men essentially, and you're like, this is so cool, man. I love this. The fight, you know, ends, Goku kicks everyone's ass, of course, and there's this one demon with this axe who like tries to slice Goku. He misses. The axe gets stuck in the ground. Goku beats his ass, and that was like the last demon. Then they essentially go back to the hotel to sleep, right? You know, the night goes through, they're just sleeping. The next morning they go out to like get in their ship and leave, and it turns out that demon with the axe, and maybe his crew, stole their ship because he left the axe right where their ship used to be with like a note on it, pretty much saying that they stole their ship. And that's pretty much where it ends. They yeah, it was good. It was a good episode because it's like we're learning like more about like the lore and like the established world of like how the demon realm works, and like the ins and outs, like just more and more and more of it and stuff like that. It's really fun. It's just such a fun show. I want more every time. It's so like, the animation's great. Like, of course it's the Dragon Ball world, so it just looks good. This is like some of the most world building we've ever had in Dragon Ball in just a few episodes. That's what's crazy about it too. It's like they really, really tried here. Like you could tell, like Toriyama put his like heart and soul, and you know, God bless that man. And it's still so sad that he left us way too early, but yeah, anyway, I love it. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, we find out that Supreme Kai's race is called a Glind. I think that's right. I'll correct myself in an edit if I'm wrong, but I think it's a Glind, because Gloria was like, "Oh, aren't you a Glind?" And the Supreme Kai's like, "Yeah, I'm a or whatever." And he pretty much confirms he's a race. I mean, obviously, but we, you know, as Dragon Ball people, like, at least I thought like Supreme Kais were just made to be Supreme Kais, like, right? Because they all look the same, right? They're like the same pointy eared like race. Yeah, like they might be like taller, shorter, fatter, or whatever, but like, you know what I mean? I didn't really think of them other than Kais, but you know, I guess Kai means like a god, so I guess that doesn't really make sense. So they just kind of clarified that Supreme Kai's race is a Glind. I think a Glind. I might be wrong on that. I think it's a Glind. And I was like, what the? So we're getting even more lore on the Kais, which is crazy. So anyway, it's just really cool stuff. I love it. It just feels so much like Dragon Ball, and in a good way too. It's like, oh my God, like, I don't know. It kind of makes me want to watch like Dragon Ball again as I wait for these episodes, you know, weekly. And like I said last time, oh my God, having to wait a week only to get like a 20-minute episode. I'm like, oh man, I wish they were longer. I do. That's the only complaint I have, is I wish they were longer. I mean, that's selfish, but I'm not gonna lie. Don't we all wish they were longer? Like the first episode was like 30 minutes, and then now they're giving us 20-minute episodes. I get it because it's on TV. So, right, it's like, it was special that the, you know, first one was even 30 minutes. So, but anyway, overall, you know, another banger episode. Well, I mean, it's not like a crazy banger. It's not like super epically exciting, but we did get a fight. We got like more lore, and I think, yeah, just like last one, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. You know, I mean, it's steady, it's good, it's not bad in any way. So yeah, I like it. And again, you can watch it on Crunchyroll. I think the theatrical release is going to be sometime in November, and we're going to get the first 3 episodes in theaters, which is really cool. It's going to be the first 3 episodes in English dub, and we're getting Stephanie back. That's the old voice actor for Kid Goku, Gohan, and dude, that's exciting to me. Like, I have nothing against the new you know, voice actor that like appeared in Kai on for like Goku, Kid Goku, and like Gohan. Like, I have nothing against her, but like, I grew up with Stephanie, dude. So I'm like, oh, man, That's so cool that they got her back for Daima. I just think that's so cool. But you know, hey, yeah, it's whatever. You know, if you don't like that opinion, I mean, hey, that's my opinion. All right, they brought her back for a reason. Just saying, I think it's a, you know, I feel like that's the popular sentiment, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, I guess until next time, which will be next week. Yeah, hope you all are watching because it's really good. It's really good. I recommend it. So yeah, I guess that's it.